one little question I have to both of you, and then we'll... after the Mumbai attacks and a Larry King show, Dr. Deepak Chopra, the much admired Indian guru who lives in the US, made the statement that the true solution to Islamic terrorism has to come really from the Islamic leadership taking a lead role and then gradually working through their system. There's only that much that the world can do. And in India we do see a parallel because we do get some amount of Hindu terrorism coming up and every now and then. But then the Hindu religious leadership is very peaceful and tries very hard to come center stage. Do you people with your wide knowledge of these matters see any movement among the Islamic leadership to sort of take over and try to dominate civil society there and marginalize the jihadis apart from whatever else the world is doing? Do you see anything at all happening?
Yeah, one of the things I did at Brookings for 3 years is to be co-organizer of a grand celebration or a meeting in Doha called the United States and the Islamic World. And we brought Islamic leaders or Muslims from a number of countries, including India. In fact, Hamid Ansari was there 2 years in a row, your vice president. And it was clear that we did not invite people carrying machine guns. If we had, we didn't want them there, and there could have been no dialogue with them. But generally the moderate Muslim leadership that we had, including clergies, theologians, Muslim thinkers, philosophers, and so forth, they understand that they're in a battle. And I think, broadly conceived, this is the question of reforming Islam, so that Islam can live in peace with other religions. Christianity went through this, Judaism went through this, Buddhism went through this in a way, and Hinduism went through it in a sense. How do you moderate your extremists so you can live in a complex world with other civilizations and other societies? So I think Islam is in the midst of this revolution. I do know that, I've been to Pakistan recently, that America, which was the great Satan, the hated evil state, will have another opportunity to, in a sense, set the record straight. And this is a joke, don't take it seriously. My state of Illinois has elected 2 Muslim presidents. One is Barack Obama, because every Pakistani believes he's a Muslim, and the other was Ibrahim Lincoln. So the misperception in the Muslim world that Obama is a Muslim. Of course he's not, he's a Christian. In a sense, that gives him the space in which to talk and to dialogue. But I think that this process of dialogue, of exchange, debate within the Muslim world itself is important.
Yeah, I agree with Deepak Chopra. And I frankly believe that the only people who can fight and delegitimize, I mean, we cannot find an appropriate word for them, the mujahideen, the jihadists, the terrorists, there's no appropriate term for them, is frankly, the fight has to come from the moderate Muslim leaders of the world. The question I ask is, the global policies today, are they designed to help the moderate Muslim leaders, or are they undermining them? And today, when I talk to these moderate Muslim leaders, they say, we want to fight these people. But unfortunately, there are many, and here, I'm being politically delicate here, there are many Western policies, as we all know, have created anger in the Islamic world. It's not a secret, you know. And can we change some of these policies to reduce the anger and then strengthen the moderate Muslim leaders? And I gave the example of Israel-Palestine and how it should be solved. But I'll just tell you 2 stories to illustrate how strong the sentiment is in the Islamic world. The first story is, there's a very brave woman whom I admire a great deal, called Zainab Anwar, who runs an organization called Sisters in Islam. And she's fighting a very brave battle for women's rights in Malaysia. And you know, everyone thinks that we should support her. Lots of Western organizations go to Zainab and say, can I give you money? We want to support you. She says, if I take 1 penny of Western money, I'm dead. Because the Western money is toxic. All my opponents will say, you see, she's promoting a Western agenda. And And the fact that she has to consciously show her gap from the Western world shows what you must do to reduce this anger towards the West. Another story, okay? When my second book came out, Beyond the Age of Innocence, the Financial Times gave it a wonderful half-page review. At the end of the review, they said, hey, don't bother reading this book. It's another anti-American book. 2 weeks later, I was in Turkey, talking to my Turkish publisher, a young lady. So I said, when is my book coming out in Turkish? She said, it's all translated already. I said, great. So when is it coming out? And then she saw a squirm in her seat and she said, well, we have a problem. I said, what's the problem? She said, the mood in Turkey is very anti-American. I said, yeah, so? She said, your book is so pro-American, we cannot publish it in Turkey. So a book that the Financial Times described as anti-American is too pro-American to be published in Turkey, which is a NATO ally. Now this gap between the West and the Islamic world is a very, very dangerous gap. And that gap undermines the moderate Muslims. And we must try to do something to reduce that gap and strengthen the moderate Muslim voices, because these are the only guys who have the credibility to fight them politically. You cannot come in from outside as a Singaporean or an American or British and enter the societies and say, hey, fight the terrorists. You can't. Because we have no political and moral credibility. But if their internal voices, their own religious leaders say, hey, these guys are wrong, that's how it works. And I can tell you in the case of Singapore, just to conclude, we arrested, by the way, the second big attack after 9/11 was supposed to happen in Singapore. We detained they were accumulating 7 tons of TNT to explode in Singapore. We stopped them. After we caught them, you know what we did? We got the Islamic religious leaders to talk to them. And after 2 years, the Islamic religious persuaded these guys, yes, I was wrong. But they could do it, we can't do it.